time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Where is Angela Winbush? That's a good question. I feel like we haven't seen her in a minute since she got divorced. Well, it's been a minute since she and Ron Isley got divorced, but I feel like, she's just kind of in the mix. Shout out to Urban Spinster in the chat. She says, I saw her, Angela Winbush, Shirley Murdoch, and Sherelle a couple of summers ago. Still got it. I love Sherelle. When I was a little kid, people used to tell me I looked like her. I don't know if I did or not, but I understood. She still has some of my favorite songs. You Look Good to Me, I Didn't Mean to Turn You On, Affair, and of course, Saturday Love, like all-time classic. Anyway, welcome into hour 3. We are going to get into these trending topics and headlines because there's still, believe it or not, a lot for us to get into. So if you're still up and you want to give us a call, 800-920-1580. We're live in the YouTube chat. You can hit us there. So I mentioned that Dame Dash is going through some legal stuff. What's new? He seems to be every year dealing with some type of legal situations as it pertains to his business. I wonder, does seeing all of the various legal situations and financial situations that Dame has gone through since the breakup of Rockefeller make you understand more the breakup of Rockefeller? Or, are people still saying, no, Jay was being selfish and he wasn't holding his man down? I feel like without really saying a word, we see exactly where Dame got in his own way and what created the problems, right? I think we saw that in, what was the concert movie that they had when they went on tour? Backstage. Yep, we saw some things in there. Remember when Dame went in to the meeting and went up on the Def Jam staff and some other stuff. So I think it's kind of clear. But you never know. Listen, according to reports, Dame is being forced to give up his percentage of the label and sell his shares because he hasn't made payment on a six-figure judgment. Back in 2019, a filmmaker named Josh Weber and his Muddy Water Productions filed a lawsuit against Dame for copyright infringement and defamation. Dame reportedly was brought on to co-direct an urban thriller called Dear Frank, which starred Claudia Jordan, Columbus Short, and Brian J. White. But he was later fired because he allegedly showed up to set under the influence. Now, despite being dropped from the project, right, Weber claimed that Dame continued to shop the movie as his own to numerous places and networks, including BET, where he pitched it under another name, an alternate name. He used the name The List. So the plaintiffs ultimately ended up winning that case in 2022, and Dame owed them $155,000 in punitive damages and also another $650,000 in compensatory and punitive damages to Josh Weber, right? So the amounts add up to $805,000 plus another $823,000 that is allegedly out there based off of fees or restitution or something like that, right? So not a small amount of money. Well, a New York judge has said that he is demanding that Damon sell his cut of Rockefeller and use that to pay back the debts he owed. Supposedly, Jay-Z and Kareem Biggs Burke, who started Rockefeller with Dame, objected to the action, mentioning that the company's bylaws prohibit the sell-off of stock without the approval of the board, i.e. Biggs, Jay, etc. Andy?
Looks like Jay still got Dame back.
I mean, he has his back and he also has his own back, because who's going to buy those shares and own a third of their company and have a say-so in how they are allowed to move? So I don't even know. They probably at one point in time tried to buy Dame out and he said no. I don't know that to be fact. But at the very least, they're protecting their own interests, because stranger, who's going to come in and get that and have a 1/3 say-so on what happens with the Rockefeller brand?
It reminds me of, I don't know if he was a politician, some white guy. He purchased like the Wu-Tang catalog or something like that.
Yeah. The guy, I can't remember his name.
I don't know if he still owns it or whatnot, but I can see why. You know, you don't want your baby in someone else's hands.
Especially when you're still making money off of it, and they could get in and, you know, try and gum up the mix, try and go pitch it somewhere or whatever. So when we come forward, we will get into some of the objections and also why I think Dame is probably just being stubborn at this point as it relates to these things. And later, of course, we're going to get into the Tyler Perry AI thing. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. If we care enough. We care enough. We care enough. We care enough. We care enough.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were discussing that Damon Dash has a judgment where the judge has basically said that his personal property can be seized to satisfy the judgment. It was a 15-page decision, and that includes his shares of Rockefeller, even at the objections of Kareem and Jay-Z. What I do wonder is, will Kareem and Jay-Z simply just buy the shares and be done with it, even though effectively they'll be paying off Dame's debt for him? Still, they get control back of the company. They don't have to deal with Dame. But I just wonder how it's all going to work. It seems like on paper, legally, once the judge says that, it's kind of out of Damon's hands. There's nothing that he can do to retain it. But I am curious to see how it all plays out and if Jay and Biggs or someone else, but I can't really see the likelihood in that, come in and take over, and then what happens with it next. Because I'm sure to a degree, Damon has been a thorn in Jay's side, even though he largely ignores it and just keeps on moving. So the other thing, I think I mentioned the other night that Damon said he's not mad at Kevin Hart, but he is aware that Kevin doesn't repost his stuff, right? He says that, basically he put Kev in his first movie, put him on screen with, what is it, Paper Soldiers? What was the film called? I can't remember what that Rockefeller movie, I feel like it was Paper Soldiers. Is it what? State Property? No, I think it was before State Property. I think it was like Paper or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But he also says that, and by he, I'm talking Damon, that he was asked to produce Soul Plane and he got offended because he doesn't like white people making money off of making fun of us, right? He also said that I could never feel comfortable sitting in a movie theater watching people laugh at us. And he said, anyone who interviews Kev, and he'll say it, Dame put me in my first movie. Dame wants you to ask him, why don't you post his stuff? So he basically said that I wouldn't braid another man's hair on a billboard. You know, this is kind of an offshoot of the dress conversation. And again, we've seen a lot of people come at Kevin Hart as of lately. You know, although it might be good to wear king, it's also, you know, puts a target on your back, right? So Dame basically said, I wouldn't be on a billboard braiding another man's hair. That's the 2015 film Get Hard, which starred Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. And he also said that I thought this was interesting language. And it's like, Dame, you should not say this about a grown man with children. But he said, he's done things that I didn't raise him to do, but he has a different type of comedy. That is offensive to me. Damon, you did not raise Kevin Hart, even if you extended opportunity to him. You did not raise him. And that type of thinking, that type of disrespect, maybe that is why he's not reposting your stuff. But he also said that his comments aren't coming from a place of judgment. He just wished that Kevin would reciprocate the support. He said, I'm not judging him. I'm not saying repost my stuff. I was never mad at him for doing anything he's done, and I wouldn't. But I'm not even mad at him now. He's just saying it would be nice if you guys gave some love to the person that put you on and post my stuff. So in that, I don't think that he's wrong for feeling that way. But part two to that is I do think, in all honesty, for a lot of people, it's a very clear message if they're not reposting you or something like that, if you guys have that type of relationship. Whether they feel like the association is not a good look, they don't think that your whatever it is quality or something. I think it definitely says something. And I don't know, we hear it. It's twofold. It's interesting with Kevin Hart because on one hand, you heard Monique say that Kevin went out of his pocket to help her family eat during that time period. There was someone else that came forward and said that Kevin reached into his pocket and gave them money and helped them do things. But then when you hear about the work side, there's certain things that he won't do. So it sounds like he's being a friend behind closed doors, but he's not letting you mess up his money and his business. Can you be mad at someone for that? Can you be mad if someone is offering you support? And we'll leave Dame out of this because I don't know if this, actually contributes to him. But can you be mad at someone that is offering support, but perhaps not in the way that you would like it to be? Do you have a right to feel like you're not really doing anything or trash them? I mean, you feel how you feel. So, of course, you have a right to feel how you feel. But, I just wonder what the thought process is behind that. Urban Spinster asked a very good question in the chat. She said, how long does one need to acknowledge the person who gave them an opportunity? And I think it's a great question. Does it end with, I said thank you? I remember years ago, someone referred me to an open role with the company. That's how I turn it. They passed along my resume, and I got the job. And when I got the job, I immediately sent that individual flowers and a thank you card for passing my information along, right? But once in the role, I'm in the role and I have to prove myself in that role. And I heard through a friend of a friend years later, and this person wasn't like a friend, I should say. They were a coworker, someone I used to work with. And again, thank them, sent them flowers, all of that. But the person felt like I was not thankful enough because I got the role and I guess did well in it. So I think sometimes it's a tricky thing because what does thanks look like for some people? Is it monetary compensation? Is it acknowledging you in these type of instances in every interview as someone who helped me down? Or is it as simple as if you have a new project out, retweeting it? It's been about 20 years, if we're being real, since Dame, maybe a little more, since Dame put Kevin in that film. And obviously, Kevin Hart is the comedic rock star. Everyone's taking shots at him. Pew, pew, pew. But he has acknowledged Dame's role in helping him get started. So I'm like you, Urban Spinster. How long does one need to say thank you because you assisted along the way? I'm not talking about disregarding someone. I'm not talking about not giving them props at all. But what is the barometer for what is enough gratitude? Andy?
Sounds like Kevin Hart and Dame Dash should have a conversation behind the scenes just on expectations, right? I mean, it's probably too late for that. But like in your scenario, and just like any other scenarios, quite frankly, if, you lend something to somebody, or, you throw somebody a lob, I think as somebody who receives, whatever resource, as somebody who's receiving the resource, I would probably ask the person who's providing me that resource, is there anything that you want back in return? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is your expectations? Because, not that it's fishy, they're probably doing this out of love, but, that person might not necessarily express that, I'm throwing you this lob, but, I need you to assist me in this. Some people already have expectations. Like, I gave you this role, you should already kind of show me some love back, but it's not like that sometimes. So I just think people need to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're expecting something in return by giving something. So as the receiver, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you need to, hey, I know you're giving me this lob. How can I repay you back? You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
But here's the thing, is that, like, with something like that, one, sometimes there might not be things that you actually can do, right? But it's like this. If someone, let's say someone helped you get a job or passed it along, and they're like, oh, well, a dinner at this restaurant, which is going to run you like $300, not a big deal. But I'm saying, like, what if it's things like that? Take me out for a nice meal, or da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do you then just say, okay, just because?
If it comes with parameters or whatever that seems to be maybe a little bit extensive or whatnot, then maybe I might have to decline.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
fair.
if you provided me with this job, but yet you want me to take you out for $1,000 dinner or something like that, I'll be like, for real? You know what? I appreciate you trying to look out for me, but I'm good. Don't put me in that situation where I gotta pay you back that much. And they're looking at it like, well, but you got a job. You know what I'm saying? This job is paying you this, that, and the third. Like, nah.
I think it's so tricky, especially now, because, it's so much easier to be passive aggressive with people. And you can take it to social media, and you can throw a rock and hide your hand. It's tricky. But I do understand your point. But how do you ask if someone is trying to extend kindness or do something nice for you? Are there strings attached to this?
That's the question.
Then you look like a jerk, right?
So what? I'm sorry. We live in a dog-eat-dog world. This world is grimy, and people always have expectations. What do they tell you in church? You know what I'm saying? Be a cheerful giver.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if you're going to give without wanting something in return. But the reality is, some humans, you know what I'm saying? It's what do they call it? A transactional society, as my man Zoe Williams likes to say. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if somebody's gonna give me something off the rip, just for me and my experiences in life, I'm like, where's the catch?
What's the catch?
What's the catch? Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you need for me to do? Like, how do you want me to pay you back? Can I just pay you back or whatever? Or I'm asking questions. That's just me.
I think so. I think it's so, people are really sensitive too. And then, too, sometimes people aren't always honest about what they need, which is something that we've talked about quite frequently. Adam Milan in the chat says, do what works for you is key advice. If the acknowledgement is beneficial, keep it. If you're beyond it, then you are beyond. Forensic accountant says, example, Charlemagne absolutely owes his career to Wendy. See, I have a problem with stuff like that because did she open the door and give him his start? 100%. And he says that. However, the connection to Wendy, if he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing or entertaining the fans, however you look at it, however your feelings are about him, he would be gone. He would be done. And it wouldn't matter that Wendy opened the door for him. Andy?
I was just going to say, Charlemagne, he acknowledged Wendy several times. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Wendy. But I don't know if that would be enough for a Wendy Williams. But, Wendy Williams ain't never complained about that or anything like that. But I know that, Charlemagne would acknowledge that.
I think they had beef for other reasons, like whatever, for a period of time. But I think that they had some type of come to Jesus mea culpa moment, I believe maybe right even before all of these health problems came down with her. I would hope so, because, clearly one of the things that is going along with her situation is that there is memory loss and things of that nature. So,
has Charlemagne spoke about this documentary coming up?
He has. He thinks that he's mentioned he thought that it was sad, but his approach has been interesting. Like, sometimes I feel like I think I'm trying to term this in the correct words when I say he knows where to step, so to speak. I think he's more cautious with certain things, even though he knows his outspokenness. I guess he knows how to play the game. Not saying that he's being inauthentic in certain things, but I feel like he knows, like, I don't really feel like going this today, so I'm just going to give you a very PC, lukewarm, but still appropriate answer so that we don't have to get into all of that. Urban Spinster says most people are not that upfront about their expectations. Definitely passive aggressive. We see a lot more of it. Like Miss Van Sant, I'm not doing it right now, said to Kiki Palmer, help is you doing what you think that person needs versus them asking. This gets you unappreciated if the thing fails or forgotten if it succeeds. Be a support. And that's true. There's a fine line between help and support, and people will definitely accept the help and overlook it when it's time for the praise, and you don't want to be standing there, feeling taken advantage of. So make sure, at least if you're clear with nobody else, be clear with yourself what your expectations are and know how you would feel if you do this and at the end of it, you don't get the result in your mind. How will you feel? And that should determine how you should move and if you should move forward with that action. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about Tyler Perry putting that $800 million studio expansion on hold, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'll give it to you anytime and any place. You don't have to worry. You know I've been right there for you. All I want is a little
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The judge in former President Trump's civil fraud case is denying a request from Trump's legal team to delay the enforcement of penalties. The defense team asked for a delay of 30 days to allow for what they call an orderly post-judgment process. In an email posted to the court docket, the judge said Trump's team failed to explain, much less justify, any basis for a stay, adding that he was confident the appellate division would protect his rights. Trump was ordered to pay a $355 million fine plus interest. New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was Who's Black says she'll go after Trump's assets if he can't come up with the money. It looks like Olympic champion gymnast Gabby Douglas won't be making her return to competition just yet. Douglas, who was Black, was set to compete at the Winter Cup in Louisville on Saturday, but she withdrew from the competition due to a positive COVID test. Douglas last competed at the 2016 Rio Olympics, where she was on the gold medal winning team. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your Black.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard.
Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent.
Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for breeze. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for breeze. La 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 la.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let you take me out. I know what you were on about, but when I did, I wasn't trying to lead you. Now you bring me home and tell me good night's not enough for you. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to turn you on. You read me wrong. I wasn't trying to lead you on like you think. I didn't mean to turn you on. You read me wrong. I wasn't trying to lead you on. I want a friend. I didn't mean to turn you on. I didn't mean to turn you on.
Listen, this video had the gorilla breakdancing on top of the building and all of that. It was in black and white. She was having a dream. I feel like I still have a copy of the VHS where I recorded this on New York Hot Tracks because that's how we used to have to run it back at any given time. Shout out to Sherelle, man. Listen. She was a thing. Shout out to Forensic Accountant and Urban Spinster in the chat, dropping knowledge. It very much was a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis production. Forensic Accountant says the greatest production team of all time. They are definitely one of them. Would not argue with that. I remember they were coming out with a new album a couple of years ago, and I went to a listening session at the studio in Capitol Records because they were, it had all of these sonic things. And the Capitol Records building in Hollywood is something that's been around for a long time, and a lot of classic music was recorded out of there. And I got an opportunity to tell them that they say, studies, psychology, things of that nature, that the music that you listen to around 14 or 15 kind of sets the tone for the type of music that you will like for the rest of your life. And that is kind of what locks in your musical taste and at that age. And so I feel like around that age, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were popping with everybody for me. Like all the hits, all the things, they had a good run. Well, they're still on that run, but so much, can't even count. Forensic Accountant is also shouting out Sherelle and rest in peace Randy Rand, who I'm assuming might have done some type of production on that or involved in that. Listen, Sherelle was my girl. Alexander O'Neal had hits, although nobody talks about Innocent. When they talk about things like the songs and grooming and those conversations, I really think that people don't really listen to the music that they say they were fond of and things like that, because then you guys wouldn't be confused. It was all through the music. I gave you guys a whole list a few weeks ago. But anyway, more on that later. Welcome back in as we were winding down to tonight's show of RSVP with Jill Munroe. Let's talk about this Tyler Perry thing because I thought it was very interesting. So, as mentioned, it's for about the last 4 years. Tyler has been working on and planning to expand his sound stages at his studio. We know he has 330 acres of property for Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, and he was planning on spending about $800 million to add 12 more sound stages, right? So he's recently come out and said he's put those plans on hold because of the rapid developments that he's seen as far as AI is concerned, right? So AI recently dropped their OpenAI, I should say, dropped a new video model called Sora. And basically it's text to video. So what you do is you would write a description for a scene that you're trying to see, and AI puts it together, and it's right there, right? And if you've seen some of the videos of the output, it's really kind of crazy, right? We don't know how far we can go with it, but just that quick thing to put it together, it's nuts. So Tyler said, being told that it can do all of the things is one thing, but actually seeing the capabilities was mind-blowing. He said this in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He said that his productions might not have to travel to locations or build sets with the assistance of technology. He said as a business owner, he sees the opportunity in these developments, but as an employer and fellow actor and filmmaker, he also wants to raise the alarm because he has concerns about the technology and the impact that it will have on the labor market, right? And he wants the industry, which I've been talking about, some guardrails need to be put in because this thing is crazy. And he said there's got to be some sort of regulation in order to protect us. If not, I don't see how we survive. Andy?
Hate to break it to you, Tyler Perry. AI is here, and AI will be taking over a lot of human-led type work.
I mean, it is really, really crazy when you think about it, because that means that whole new job forces are going to have to be created. I say this with love, but to everyone, tap into AI. Figure out how you can utilize it in whatever your current career status is, because it's not going anyplace, as Andy just said. And it is really, really going to make a big impact on things. I mean, you think about the ways that we use AI every day that we don't even cognitively.
Hey, Siri.
Siri, for sure, 100%. Amazon, those things like that.
Hey, Alexa.
Alexa. Even when you think about it, like some of the touch screens and commands when you call in for customer service, or some of the prompts on the things that you interact. And that's just on a smaller scale. Kiosks. These are things that we think of as convenience day to day. But in theory, that's someone's job that went by the wayside because of that. More efficient, faster, et cetera, et cetera. So he also went on to say, I've been watching AI very closely, watching the advancements. And, we would have increased the backlot by a tremendous size. But now that we know about Sora and seeing what I can do, he said he had no idea, but now that he actually has seen it in the demonstrations, he's shocked. And he doesn't know if it makes sense to spend that type of money on expansion because it might be an unnecessary cost. And, he said that, for example, I no longer have to travel to locations. If I wanted to be in the snow in Colorado, it's a text. If I wanted to write a scene on the moon, it's a text. And this AI can generate it like nothing. If I wanted to have 2 people in the living room in the mountains, I don't have to build a set in the mountains. I don't have to put a set on my lot. I can sit in my office and do this with my computer. And there it is right there, right? He said, I immediately started thinking of everyone in the industry who would be affected by this, including actors, grips, electricians, transportation, sound, editors. Looking at all of this, I'm thinking it will touch every corner of the industry. He also said, I used AI in 2 films that are going to be announced soon. That kept me out of makeup for hours. When I was on set, I was able to use this AI technology to avoid ever having to go through the aging process with makeup. Andy?
So here's a theory that I have. So with, the expansion of AI, there's going to be less jobs because AI is pretty much taking over, right? So for those who pretty much have the control of AI, their pockets are going to get fatter.
Yeah.
Right? So we're already going through this whole, there's no such thing as a middle class anymore, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's being eradicated. It's up here.
Yeah, so either you're in the top or you're in the bottom. And I think that gap is going to be spread way more wide. So while we over here tripping over the fact that Chili is calling herself caramel, and we over here light skin, dark skin, this, that, and the third, or whatever, these cats are invested in AI, making their bread, and they're running laps.
I mean, and it is true. Listen, I talk about technology and AI and these things on the show, everything, and it's for beyond the fact that it is a trending topic. It is also something that we need to be paying attention to and aware of, because it is definitely going to transform every industry, the way that we interact, the way that we do work, all of these things. NVIDIA, which is one of the makers of AI technology, a chip maker, their stock has increased. It has gone from, I think it wasn't even in the top 10, top 20. It is now number 1. It is increased, I think they said, by 3,000% over the past couple of months, because people are investing in that technology and what it can do. Andy?
It's Black History Month. And before we go to break, I just want to say that Brother Gil Scott-Heron,
yep,
he said it.
The revolution will not be televised.
Will not be televised. The revolution is happening right in front of our eyes. Wake up.
So when we come forward, we're going to get into these YouTube chats, because they are plenty. Boy, it was flying away. And, more trending topics and headlines before we wrap up for the night. So stick and stay. We'll see you on the other side.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
That was another way. I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, we got a combination of AI talk and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis talk. So we're going to run through it really quick. Forensic accountant says, I need to listen to some Everything I Miss at Home after the show. I love the bass progression of that song. It is a great song. Forensic accountant is also giving some tips on what he thinks you should do as far as some stock situations. We are not going to do that here because we are not, but you can check out the chat, and it's actually a stock that I mentioned before the break. So there you go with that. Yeah, and we see you, Insider. Shout out to you. Urban Spinster, you might want to get in on that, or, there's another one. DM me. We'll talk about it. Listen, the reality is Tyler said that, seeing what was happening and how quickly it was developing, he questioned the financial spend on that. If he can take that $800 million and invest it in other places, maybe I'm not even going to say it. You guys will say it for me. But, employ other actors and actresses, raise the salary for them, put out more productions. We don't know, but we do know that it's all moving very, very quickly, and it's going to impact a lot of jobs, Perry says that he believes that the situation is an all hands on deck thing for the entire industry. It's almost like people weren't paying attention to what the actors and writers were saying during the strike that we just had last year. I know that it is hard to feel sorry for people who you feel are making a lot of money in play careers, things that people think, oh, I could do that, or they don't take it seriously because they don't believe that, because it's not, because it seems fun or ideal, people don't consider it real work, but it is, and again, if it impacts them, it's going to impact you, just like the strike impacted the cafes and businesses that were around the studios and production centers. Somehow, the trickle-down effect may not work in economics, but it absolutely works in situations like this. So we will see if Tyler leads the charge on this. If you haven't, go check out some of the Sora video, Sora, that is floating around. It's really incredible. It's not open like ChatGPT is or Gemini, but it will be soon. And of course, they're going to charge people for it. But think about it. I just mentioned that Google is testing out removing the news tab, right? So if you save money in salary and you're utilizing these AI sources, which one of the big things people are noticing with them is that it lacks personality. So the personal touch is going to be missing from some of these things, but still, Somebody's going to figure out how to build a better mousetrap. So be alert, be aware, figure out ways you can utilize it to enhance whatever you already have going on, because it's here, it's active, and it is not going anywhere. Forensic accountant says if someone can make Shock G's 8990 vision a reality, how much would that be worth? Got them sex packets. I mean, listen, what is it, the Apple Vision Pro and all of that stuff? There is no doubt that someone is working on that. No doubt. Clear as day. That's probably already here. So I'm sure somebody has got some type of patent pending, something or whatever. But the serious thing is everyone needs to be on alert and aware of how they can benefit. Okay, last story before we clock out for the evening. So we know that Beyonce is sort of having this country music renaissance, shall we say. You like how I combined Act 1 and Act 2. So anyway, there's a trend that has started on TikTok, right? It's mostly men that are doing it. So while some people are putting together line dances and doing that, this trend generally starts with someone, a woman or a guy, looking at a text and the person letting them know that they are with child. And so then what happens is Beyonce kicks in and they say, "This ain't Texas," and the person pulls out their credit card and hands it towards the camera. If you don't get the joke, they're giving the credit card to go handle what is implied to be, as a joke, people, an unwanted pregnancy, and noting that it's legal in whatever state they're in. So Beyonce is starting more trends than we would have ever imagined and getting it going. Listen, I hope that you have enjoyed all the trending topics that we've touched on tonight, and that you keep it locked here every night, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to midnight on KBLA Talk 1580 for all your trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Thursday is my Friday, but that doesn't mean that you should not check in and check out the show, because it's always fire. And if you miss something, you can catch back up. So on the other side, we have the best of KBLA. Have an amazing night. Have an amazing weekend. And keep your eye on AI. Have a great night. I'll talk to you guys Monday.
On a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible, tell me, can you ever restore?